So here's how my week started. Take it away, Jasper.
Day one.
See that pile of gray and brown stuff right there? Yeah, that's cedar shingle. And all that came off of that right there. So, you guys remember these god awful brown shingles? Well, they're painted with a really crappy brown paint, but I had to take them off in stages because my dad wants to save some and be able to put some back on and cut down on costs. Understandable. And I also help out my stepmother who has cerebral palsy. For those of you that don't know, it's a disease that affects your nerves and your muscular growth. It's really crappy. But I help her out when I'm there too, so it took a little bit. Well, folks, that's all the time that Jasper and I got for part one. Stay tuned for part two, where you actually get to see what it looks like without the window and without the plywood on the one side. Last time on House Renovation Z. I can't even. All right, Jasper, take it away.
But ooh,
So now that the cedar shingle was off, the next step was to get the plywood off from around that window there. Oh boy, was that a doozy. We had to do it as quick as we possibly could and beat the rain that day. Well, we did it, and here's the proof. Did I also mention we had to remove the window too? Because here it is, without the window or the plywood or the insulation that was underneath. So you guys remember this, right? Without the window, without the plywood or the siding or anything like that. Yeah, that bottom right corner, that's free floating. That becomes an issue later that we greatly fix. Keep it in mind. So after removing this 2x4 from the door frame, and replacing some of the joists and 2x4s that are in there. Here's a progress picture here. I decided to ask Dad a couple of questions. All right, so what exactly are these for, Dad?
These are called dead men. Okay, this supports the wall for in between the panels of old framing.
So what's the point of putting an extra one right about here? What's the point?
It's because we had to cut out the stud without being able to rip out the paneling on the inside and destroying it. We had to cut the bottom sill plate out and cut the studs off so we can get it out. And we put a dead man on it to reinforce it so it doesn't move.
So basically, that's why it's not free floating anymore. When I say free floating, guys, you could be Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball free floating on it, okay? But since we put the dead man's on there and replaced the 2x4 in the frame, this 175-pound, 55-year-old man could swing on this bastard and not make it budge. Here, let me show you. That ain't moving. Now, like I said in part one, we are not contractors by any means whatsoever, but occasionally you know things. Huh, Dad? In the last video, you guys saw that the frame ain't moving. What did you just tell me?
I said, at least the dumbass old man knows what he's doing.
For once. So we added some more much needed joists, and here's the progress for the end of the day today. So tomorrow is going to be insulation, and we're getting the window tomorrow. So stay tuned. Jasper and I hope to see you for part three. And speaking of that, take it away, Jasper. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Unfortunately, today's one is going to be a short one. And so sorry about no Jasper opening up the video today. He's an outdoor cat. Couldn't find him. But here's some cute pictures in the meantime. Welcome back to our ongoing series, House Renovations, Part 2.5. So, when we last left off, we were waiting for the window to come in and a few other supplies. Well, here's the window, and let past me tell you about the supplies we got. Well, there's the shingles for the siding, and in this bag, I had to drop the plastic, I'm going to wrap those up in, are 2 rolls of aluminum flashing and 4 tubes of white paintable caulk. But because it's going to rain, I got to use this to wrap up the shingles. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get any video footage of me wrapping up the shingles, but that's because I was trying to beat the clock and trying to beat the rain. And, well, here's the finished product. I got the cedar shingles all in a nice little present for Dad. Let's see if we get some work done today. Spoiler alert, we didn't. Now, that's all the time I got for today, folks. Jasper and I got to go rest up because tomorrow we got off. But hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday with part 3. Hey guys, let's not waste any time. Welcome to House Renovations Part 3. Take it away, Jasper!
Part 3.
Welcome to day 3, guys, and plans have changed a little bit. Instead of putting in the window and insulating the wall, we're actually going to exchange the door. So pardon the mess in the room. It is a storage room currently at the moment. But the whole point of this project of widening the door frame is to get that chair to be able to come out with a person sitting in it. Now today, we're going to have to take off some of these on the side. We're also going to have to retake off these panels, and then we're going to shore up the door frame so that the new door can swing inside. First things first, we had to take off the old molding from the door frame. You could see it right here in an unorganized pile, just like my brain. Now, you know how the old saying goes, you got to have the right tools for the right job. And we got some shiny new toys to show you. We were using a Sawzall and a skill saw. We're still going to use the Sawzall today, but got a miter saw this time. So for today's project, we're using 3 different saws. A compound miter saw, which you just saw, a Sawzall, and a skill saw. And to explain how all 3 work, we're going to take it over to the old man. You guys just saw the miter saw and also the skill saw and the Sawzall in a moment, but what's the difference, old man, using a miter saw versus a skill versus a Sawzall?
Okay, well, we're using a miter saw, which is also considered called the chop saw too, because what it does is it cuts full lengths of 2x4, 2x6, 2x8s, stuff like that, 4x4s. Your standard stick to wood. Now, a skill saw can do the same thing, but the difference is, like when you go to cut plywood, you can't use a chop saw to cut it because you got to be able to control the saw for a rip, which is the full length of the plywood to rip it in half. Or like say you got to cut out an opening for a window, you got to be able to cut 3 different sides or 4 different sides, it depends on how the window is, to take that opening out. You can't do it with a chop saw or a miter saw. You can do that with a jigsaw. You can do that with a skill saw and also with the Sawzall. Now, a Sawzall is a versatile tool for cutting wood in different ways. You can use it for cutting wood. You also can use it for cutting metal. You can use it for cutting plastic. There's different blades for that. You can get different blades for your other saws too, but you can't cut like nails off in a board with just a regular blade because it would dull it. And with the other saws, you don't have as much control as you would with the
Skill saw?
no,
Or the Sawzall?
there you go. You're finally getting it.
See, I'm learning. I'm learning.
So
Now that we know how all the saws we're going to use today work, we're going to get into it in the next video. So stay tuned for part 3.5 coming soon. Hey guys, we got another long one coming up, so hope you're ready. Welcome back to House Renovations part 3.5. And as usual, here's Jasper. 3.5. First up on the docket was getting rid of the molding off of the old door frame. And here it is, in an unorganized pile. Just like my brain. So, the pre-existing door frame is smaller than the new door that we got. So, we're going to have to cut off some of this tongue and groove right here on the right side of the old door. Now, there are 2 major rules you need to follow when using any type of handheld saw. Number 1, do not cut above your head. That's why you see the old man on the ladder. Number 2, make sure there are no electrical or plumbing behind the wall you are cutting. Even though the tongue and groove was pre-cut, it was still nailed to the door frame. So that's where I come in. I handed the old man the phone, and here's what he got. There's a nail there. Oh, there's multiple nails there. That's lovely. Go here.
hold on. This is what 100-year-old wood looks like. Nothing like we get today. This is all tongue and groove. When we take it apart, I'll show you what it means by tongue and groove.
Yep. Here's a very brief explanation of tongue and groove from me because the old man had to step inside. Like the old man was saying before, this is tongue and groove siding. All right, so here's the thing, they don't really make this like that anymore. Tongue and grooves as follows. See that? That is the tongue. This is the groove. And they cut them to form and made them so that you can literally take them and it's kind of awkward to do this one-handed, but slide them in just like that. And this is what the siding would look like with that tongue and groove. There were spots where I could not get it off with the pry bar, so the old man went through with the sawzall as you can see here. Now with the frame all cut out, we had to cut some lumber in order to fit on the right hand side and be able to mount the door. That's where this miter saw comes in. So, as you can see here, we have the new part of the frame dry fitted in. Now we have to secure it. And we're going to secure it with a method called toe nailing. That's where you drill diagonally into the head plate and diagonally into the sill plate. The head plate is the top, which you can see here. And then you can see the bottom here. And now the fun part, installing the new door. I'm going to take a moment here and tell you guys it was not an easy job, nor a quick one. We started at 1:30 in the afternoon and didn't finish until 6:10 at night. But when you install a new door, you always work from the bottom up. So this is the threshold of the new door. The previous door did not have one, as you guys saw. So in order to get a good seal, we have to caulk in here. And believe it or not, more is much better than less. So, after we put the caulk down, we dry fit the door, as you can see here, and then we had to deal with this annoying door gap that you can see here. After dealing with a very frustrating door gap, we wound up mounting it to the frame. Well, after a day full of blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of band-aids, the door is now installed, including the new hardware that Jasper and I have for you today, folks. We'll see you in part 4, the window. Hey guys, and welcome back to House Renovations, Part 4. And as always, here's Jasper. Part 4. So for today, guys, this window is only being held in by 3 screws. As you saw, we've had it removed before. We're going to have to remove this plywood that's around here, around the window, okay? And then we're going to insulate it and make sure that there is a new frame for the new window coming in. Now, mind you, this is about an hour in when we're surveying everything, and guess who decides to show up late? Oh, look at that. Our foreman has finally arrived. You're late, sir. What'd you have, a nice little cat meeting or a cat nap that caught you, staying over? Oh, you're yelling at me to get to work? You're late. Now on to removing the old panels and the old window. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. So for right now, board number 5, we have to keep. You see that right there? That pattern right there is for where the headers meet. Right up here. There's header number 1, there's header number 2. So we have to keep this one as a pattern for now. The old man definitely had a few words about the old window.
Hopefully it'll be the last time we see that damn thing.
With all that off, now we got to remove some 2x4s to be able to put in the new frame. I get to remove this so we can make the new frame.
Oh, grab the board. There you go. It's gonna fall. We're coming right out. Lift straight up, and it'll be good. Lift straight up. There you go.
Now, there were other parts of the old frame that we had to remove. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of that, but here's some footage of us measuring everything up so we can cut some 2x4s to fit for the new frame. Now that the 2x4s are removed, on to build the new frame. We have all our measurements. Now it's time to cut the wood. So we secured the frame and then we dry fit the window, as you can see here. Now that the frame for the window is built and ready, guess what I get to play with, guys? That's right, insulation. Now, insulating is not one of my favorite things, but I do love to do it because it's a challenge. Notice I'm wearing gloves. Yeah, you don't want any of that all over your hands or on your skin. It feels like little cactus needles going into your skin. Now we get to unwrap the big present. That one comes next week. But yes, we get this present right here. And what's under that one, Dad?
Plywood, sheeting.
How many layers we doing?
2 to start with. Might take 3.
The old man wasn't joking. Plywood for days. Remember board number 5? That comes in handy right about now. See that blue line? That's where we use the panel to make the guideline for that cutout where it meets the headers. Now you see that nice bright red line in chalk. We have to cut all of that right off with the skill saw. And then on the inside, we're going to cut the window to fit in this area. Enjoy this wood cutting montage, because I sure as heck love filming it. After almost a 2-hour game of wood Tetris, we got both layers of the plywood on. Up next, we have to put something on called tie-back. We'll show you what it is in just a moment. And now for your educational segment from the old man.
We're putting up tie-back, which is a vapor barrier between the wood and the exterior of the house and the siding to keep moisture and pests and that from penetrating the wood and causing rot.
Oh, and don't think I forgot about panel 5. And finally, without further ado, number 5. Apologies ahead of time, guys. I didn't get any footage of us putting the tie back up, but I did get a finished picture of what it looks like. Here it is. All that's left to do is install the window. And after a pretty much full 8-hour day, here's our finished product. All right, guys, and that's it for today's project. Next project coming up. We open this big old present right behind me, and we start getting into the siding and the flashing. Stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back to the next episode of House Renovations, Part 5. And as always, here's Jasper. Part 5. Hey guys, and welcome to Part 5. Today we're going to be covering concrete. And first things first, what we're going to have to do is, if you see down there, you're going to have to chisel out to about here, okay, and go all the way down that way, all the way down that way towards that wall. And we're going to mix up concrete. We're going to pour it after we clean out and chisel everything. This right here that we're standing on is asphalt, so we got to get that rid of first so we can extend the slab. And then hopefully today we'll be getting into that bad boy right there. First things first, chiseling the asphalt. After I chiseled out the asphalt, I started to clean up my mess, and here's what happened.
We got a leak
followed by a few words of wisdom from the old man.
Like I've always told you, work smarter, not harder.
Getting blown by my father was not on my 2024 bingo card.
Now that the channel was dug, we had to do something called add flashing. And for that, we'll take you to your education segment from the old man.
It's splashing. It goes between the vapor barrier and the concrete to keep it so it doesn't get moisture in it easier. It keeps the sill plates from getting rotted out. It just water protects it. Helps force the water down instead of into the wood.
All right, so this metal piece right here is flashing. And so what exactly are you going to be doing with the flashing? What's the plan?
Well, the plan is the full length of it is 10 feet. Okay, from the one wall to the door is 24 and a half inches long. Okay, I got to make a notch in the flashing for the door opening. So on the other side of the door is 54 inches and a half. So that gives me my two spots, and I got to cut out the piece that will be sticking up in front of the door so it can go underneath the door.
Okay. And so are we just going to lay it flat like this, or what are you going to be doing?
It's going to be tacked onto the wall, and just run right down and have the concrete poured right up against it.
All right.
Enjoy this little montage of the old man measuring out the flashing and getting ready to make the cutout. Here's the pre-cut, and here's the post-cut. And here it is, attached to the house. Oh, and our foreman showed up late as usual.
So after an all-nighter catnip binge, you finally show up. And of course, you're yelling at me to get back to work. Yeah, you see that, guys? You see that, guys? Our foreman. Addicted to catnip.
After our foreman decided to show up, lay down in the yard, and proceed to yell at us, he left. But there was a suitable replacement.
This is Star. Ain't she cute? Alright, with our flashing laid down, now it's time to get ready to mix some concrete. Alright, now that the concrete is the consistency we want, it's gonna go right in that trench right up against that flashing.
Now, this ain't no ordinary concrete. This is quickset. We only had about 20 minutes to work with this stuff, so we had to work fast.
Alright, now our concrete is down. And now the part that I am the worst at, waiting for the concrete to set. So this stuff sets in 20 minutes, so we should be able to open a certain big old package. We'll see. Gets to open the present. Gad gets to open the present. I've been waiting for this. These bad boys. Very expensive, and they are awesome to play with. As you guys can see, that is the new cedar shingle. It's not permanently there. There are lines here, and that's the layers that we're doing today. Each run is level with the corner of the old siding here. So right now we're measuring out plywood to act as a spacer so we can layer it and make it look pretty.
And here's a little montage of us cutting that plywood. Here's the plywood hung up. And unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of us actually hanging up the shingles, and I apologize for that. But it was a two-person job. Both Dad and I needed to work together on it. But here they are in the house.
All right, so the shingling has begun. We have 4 runs so far. We're getting ready to cut a new piece of plywood for the fifth.
Oh, yeah, and guess who showed up?
So I was just about to film the wrap-up video for part 5, and look at this furry little foreman coming like super late at the end of the fucking day. So after 6 runs of shingles, chiseling out the asphalt and chiseling out concrete and pouring in new concrete, getting flashing done, we're calling it a day. We'll see you on Friday for part 6 when we finish the shingles and hopefully start painting.
Only if he works smarter or harder.
Hey guys, you know what time it is. Welcome back to House Renovations, Part 6. And as usual, here's Jasper.
Part 6. Hey guys, and welcome to part 6, where we're hopefully finishing the siding today and getting to paint. But the only way we get to paint is if I work smarter, not harder.
First up on the docket was getting some plywood down so we can attach the shingles.
All right, so the plan is right above here, this area right here, we're going to cut a whole piece of plywood so we can put the siding on, and it's going to be cut out to the dimensions of that. Same thing with right here above the door. So right here, from here where you see that line, which I wish it would focus, see the line? And in this area right here. So from here, just like that, and then just like that.
So, as you can see here, I wrote down some diagrams for you guys. Dad measured, I wrote down the dimensions, and then we cut the plywood. Check it out. With the piece above the pre-existing shingles there, and the piece above the door cut out, as you can see here, we were originally going to start cutting out a big piece of plywood to fit around the window and along that wall, but that didn't work out. So here's what we did instead.
So change of plans. Instead of just doing runners like we did last week for that side, we're going to cover this whole thing in plywall, but we're going to have to play some wood Tetris in order to get it.
As I mentioned earlier, as you see in this diagram, we were originally going to cut that big piece out, but didn't work out. Here's the final result.
The plywood is in place. It's time for the fun part. Those. Always that first layer that gives you hell, huh, old man?
I was having a hard time trying to find a good angle to film us putting up the shingles, guys. So, the old man, look what he's doing here. Guess what he's making me? That's right. He's making me a phone stand, just so I could put it on the ladder and film us. Now, with the camera set up, enjoy this little montage of us putting the shingles on. Few rules when handling a nail pew pew. Make sure that your finger is off the trigger unless you are nailing something in. Number one. Number two, if you are going to move it, as you see sometimes in these clips, I do pass it behind my back for 2 reasons. One, keeps you from tripping on the hose, and two, it keeps you from accidentally misfiring. And as always, our foreman showed up late.
As I live and breathe, our foreman, late again. You're lucky you're cute, you know that, right? Mind you guys, it's almost 2 in the afternoon and we started work at 10. He's sucking up.
Oh, don't think I forgot our educational segment from the old man.
Your educational segment from the old man.
Sometimes things don't always go according to plan that you planned out. Sometimes you got to overcome, adapt, and figure out things on the fly.
And after a long day and getting all the shingles up, here's what we had left over.
So we're finishing up for the day doing the cleanup, and so out of 6 bundles of cedar shingles, we only used 1.5, and here's part of the scraps. Let me show you the other section. There's the other part of the scraps. How's that for cost effective? Alright guys, we did work smarter, not harder today, but these are a real pain in the arse. So, in the next part, which will probably be next week, we're not sure because of the rain that's coming, we're going to be caulking and painting. Hopefully I'll see you in part 7.
Hey guys, and welcome back to House Renovations, Part 7, the finale. And as always, here's Jasper.
7. Good morning guys, and welcome to part 7. Today is caulking and painting. Now, first things first, we got to run to Home Depot and get more caulk. I'll take some videos there and you get to see the old man like a kid in a candy store.
While the old man and I were waiting for our ride to Home Depot and Harbor Freight, guess who showed up early for once?
As I live and breathe, our foreman is actually early today. Holy shit. What do you think? I'm surprised he's not yelling at you to get to work. Why is it only me? Why is it only me?
Because I got to go get materials so we can do the work.
And now National Barographic presents the old man in his habitat.
Here we observe the old man in his natural habitat in the Milwaukee section. He's looking for drivers. Don't move. His vision's based on movement. Home Depot trip is done. Now we gotta go to Harbor Freight. We're now at Harbor Freight.
And at Harbor Freight, Dad found the perfect skill saw so we don't have to fight with the old one anymore. Check out the interaction with that.
So the old man is retiring that orange skill saw. When are you gonna retire?
The day I die or somebody gives me $1 million tax free.
And of course, what kind of dad would I be if I didn't pull off this joke? I wasn't missing this opportunity. And after our supply run, Dad felt like a dragon with a hoard of treasure. See what we got and see how much we got it for.
Look at that awesome spread. That is from Home Depot and Harbor Freight. How much is that, old man?
$420.
Not bad.
Now that we were home and secured the hoard, it was time to start caulking. Please keep in mind that my dad and I are not professional contractors by any means, but this project has been fun. Especially this part. It was so therapeutic and actually relaxing, even though it was a lot.
All right, now that we're all caulked up and ready to go, we gotta wait about 20 minutes. And then we'll be able to start painting, at least get the first coat on today. See you then.
And without further ado, let's take it to the old man.
I'm not.
What?
I got to shake it up, buddy.
Well, shake it up. Educational segment. Make sure you shake up your paint, huh? Why is that, though?
Mix it up because all the pigment settles to the bottom. They'll be separating colors. Stir it too.
And with our paint thoroughly shaken up, we poured and started painting. If there's anything I love when it comes to remodels or construction or contracting or anything like that, it's either putting up drywall or painting. And once I started going, I couldn't stop. So I decided, screw the rollers, I'm just going to hand paint everything. On a quick personal note here, guys, I want to thank you guys all for watching the series. And for those of you who are just catching it for the first time, stick around to the end of the video. Got a little surprise for you.
Alright guys, after a long day, we are wrapping up part 7 here. And unfortunately, we are wrapping up the house renovation series because we have the first coat of paint on. And I'm not going to bore you guys with the other 2 coats. So thank you for watching. And I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little mini series called House Renovations. Later. You got plenty of material left. Want to do the other two sides?
Let's wait and see.